It is time to press news on the news and turn to the only opinions that count. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Noviello. It is time to get for real. My panel, all familiar faces, but maybe never quite at the same time. From Fox 4 Sports and Free For All, fresh off covering your world champion Texas Rangers, it's Sam Gannon. Hey there.
Hey Steve, thanks for having us.
Good to see you. If you didn't get your fill at 5, 6, and 9 o'clock, oh, the mouth is still moving. Steve Eagar is on the show. And friend of the show, you can catch her in more than 80 markets coast to coast, but we hope she feels right at home here. She's DeDe in the morning. Welcome, DeDe.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody. So we want to get right to it because this show is going to be just a little bit different from what you're used to from us. There's no teleprompters telling the panel what to say because this show is all about what they think. So get ready to take a closer look. It's time to take two. Tonight's first topic might not tip the scales on anyone's opinion, but certainly seems to be tipping the trend because people are just fed up with tipping culture. The idea that suddenly any interaction with another human being or no interaction at all deserves a cash tip, which begs the question, how did we get here?
Tipping can be traced back to ancient civilizations like ancient Egypt and Rome, where it was customary to offer small amounts of money to servants or slaves for good service. In the early 20th century, tipping became more standardized, and the practice of leaving a percentage of the bill became the norm, typically around 15 to 20% of the total bill. Some people argue that the current tipping culture places a burden on customers and creates an expectation of tipping for even basic services. They believe businesses should pay their employees fair wages instead of relying on customers to supplement their income through tips. Proponents of tipping argue that it incentivizes workers to provide better service and an opportunity for customers to show appreciation for a job well done. I'm sure you'll have something to say about this. Discuss.
Oh, I'm sure we will. From feudal Europe to fending for yourself, it's not the gratuity that gets me, it's the entitlement. The idea that simply doing your job creates a compulsory system in which we are asked to pay more, or perhaps even for the convenience of doing your job for you. I recently took my kids to the movies. I downloaded the theater's app, I selected the show, I selected the time, I selected our seats, I even swiped my own credit card, and then I was charged a convenience fee. Convenient for who? I just replaced the teenager at the ticket counter, and in the case when you do actually interact with someone, the tip is requested, get this, before the service is rendered, right? So how do I know if my salad's any good before I even taste it? And who's actually getting the cash tip, right? Is the person cleaning the tables any less deserving of the pre-populated 18% than the person who may or may not have just successfully executed sauce on the side? From the drive-through to the barista, to the dry cleaner, to the self-service kiosk at the airport, which recently sold me a bottle of water for $6 and then asked if I'd like to leave a tip when I was the only one working in the store that day. Has the culture of gratuities gone so far that it really hurts the people who need these tips, and those are the folks who make the pennies per hour and really rely on the cash. Panel, what say you? Let's start with our guest, DeDe McGuire. Hand up or hand out?
I think it's a handout. I do. I'm starting to look at that in a whole different way. I'm more about, if you could do a good service and you do a service for me, then I'm gonna tip you very well, right? I'm gonna tip you 20%. But if I'm doing it myself, if I'm going to pick up my food, my lunch, my dinner, hey, somebody tip me. I mean, because really, why am I tipping somebody and I'm picking it up?
Right, because I've just saved you a whole bunch of money. Now, here's something I would pay extra for. Steve Eagar. Waited tables? I do not believe
it's
this
hard
for
to
a
believe
minute.
that.
I was really friendly back then.
I can't
I was
imagine.
17.
Mr.
If it was a cute girl.
Exactly.
Hi.
Yeah.
If anybody else, get on with
All
it.
right.
Anyway,
I bet you're a big tipper.
I am. I want to be, and I appreciate good service, but there's also pressure on me being
you.
the jack, a newsman who didn't tip me, and that would be right. But I do. I over tip 30% usually, and valet, I take care of them. They give me a good parking spot. But I had a really negative experience recently at Rudy's.
Really?
I went for breakfast, and at breakfast they just have a pile of breakfast sandwiches. I did that. I filled my own coffee. I grabbed my own plastic utensils. I went to the cashier, and he did whatever he did and flipped it around.
What?
And there was the tip. So I was tipping him for doing the register and charging me money. That was the only services rendered, and it's just stupid. And so, for the first time ever, zero.
No tip.
Bam.
And there's pressure
You
in that
felt
moment,
good about
right?
it.
Well, we can get back to this, but I put it on the businesses. They're
you?
not paying their people enough, and they choose not to, and so they're putting that on us. And that's not our job
right,
to
we're
pay their
supplementing the payroll.
salaries. It's not our job to pay their salaries. If they deserve a tip, we should absolutely do it. But we don't need to pay their salary.
But doesn't that mean, though, it's about the service? Because did you feel that the guy was like he turned the cash thing around
I don't
for
know
you?
what he expected.
Right,
I
that's
felt
not
sorry for him after. I felt sorry for him. It's like, they're making you do this because I have to sign it and do that.
All right, Sam Gannon.
So let me tell you something, Steve. I went to Starbucks earlier today.
Oh, my.
And spent over $7 for this.
Wow.
And I went through the drive-thru, and I gladly pressed 0% on the tip because Starbucks is getting more expensive by the day.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'm with you guys. If I go to a really nice restaurant and there's a really good waiter or waitress, I'll be generous with
Yeah.
my
Absolutely.
tip. Sometimes, if I'm at like a Subway or a drive-thru, if the person is personable or I feel like I've made just a quick little connection, I may be inclined to tip. But it is the holidays.
little
Money's
connection.
tight.
Yeah.
What kind of connection you make?
But you know when you're talking about what I was trying to say, and I think it is about incentive, because here's my thing. If you're going to be a crappy waiter or waitress, I don't feel I should give you 20% tip if you know what I mean? I've
Exactly.
waited for my food, or you were rude to me, or whatever. I just don't think that's fair. I think if you do a great service, I'm going to tip you really well.
And listen, when we're talking about waiters, servers, people who actually
Interact with
perform
us
a
Yes.
task,
Yeah.
right?
An hour.
Who I know going in are making $3 an hour.
Yeah.
That I'm fine with.
Me too.
It's
Absolutely.
I walked into this, I expect to be at the Gap, and the guy at the cash wrap wants an extra couple of bucks for
Exactly.
ringing up my clothes.
And
I mean,
sometimes you
it's just
feel
out of hand.
guilted into doing it almost.
100%.
I've gotten to the point now where I don't, but sometimes I'm like, well, now I feel guilty because I'm
Well, I
not
wonder about that. Is it? Okay, so it is in the application, right? I have to sign it, and there's the tip.
Right.
Who adds that on there? I don't know if the Gap person wants that,
Right.
but there it is in front of me, the pressure to tip and sign.
I also wonder about how it's getting split at the end of the day, right? So yes, you at the register are asking for the tips. So because you kind of had the least to do with my pleasant experience, right? I'm sure we'll get into it more. All right, that's time up for round one. But we are not even nearly done, because after the break, when is $1.5 billion just not enough? When you sue the mother of your child for telling people about your win. But first, she was singing for the Lord, but the flight attendant was praying she would stop. One woman's zest to share the good news almost got her tossed off a plane. We've all got those things people do on an airplane that just drive us a little bit nuts. For some, it's people who eat that stinky food. For others, it's people who expose their suckless, stinky feet. Or maybe you're one of those people who just don't understand that sometimes babies cry. Well, in this case, it was one woman's refusal to shut her own trap that almost got her tossed off a Delta flight. Take a look.
I just found out I'm up for 2 Grammys. My very first time, you guys. My name is Bobby Storm, and I'm up for 2 Grammys. I sing for the Lord, and my song is out on all platforms. It's called We Can't Forget 'Em. Michael McDonald cleared it. Warren G is on the original record as well. It's with Regulator. So,
Are you able to be quiet?
but they're enjoying it. So while we're sitting here, could I please?
I'm not enjoying it. So I'm asking you, can you be quiet?
Okay, well,
That's a
I find that up.
That's a yes or no answer, please.
Am I gonna go to jail if I don't?
Can you please answer my question? Are you willing and able to be quiet right now?
I'm doing what the Lord is telling me to do. If you're the person in charge
Okay.
of it all, then that's
Okay,
fine.
all right. Thank
right.
you.
So I'll sing it on the low for y'all. Doing things my way, losing faith, just living life blind. But I don't want this life no more.
Wow.
All right, just a quick backstory here. This is Bobby Storm, just nominated for 2 Grammys, as you heard. She said, now what you didn't see was the flight attendant had already asked her to take a seat once and stop talking because she started this little deal in the middle of the plane talking to everybody. And after the edit ends, she goes on to sing and tell everyone exactly where they can buy her music. But panel, are you buying the behavior? Sam, we'll start with you.
I don't mind her talking initially and giving a little spiel about how she's nominated for Grammys. I think the thing for me is going on and on and on because, again, you're on a plane with a bunch of different people. I know I wouldn't be able to do that too, and I just am very uncomfortable whenever dealing with the flight attendant, so that exchange made me feel uncomfortable watching it.
What's the name of this show? For real? She is an idiot. Let me give you some real news. She is not nominated for 2 Grammys. She's in a group, The Maverick Way, with 14 people in it. She is not nominated.
Now she'll get one.
She will get, if Fox 4 wins an Emmy, do you go out and say, I'm nominated for an Emmy?
Well, hold on.
I do not.
If I'm with you guys and you win an Emmy, I'm going to go outside.
So here's what she said. I'm charting on the billboards. I'm nominated for 2 Grammy Awards. No. And so I'm on socials. I'm checking it. Matthew Fussin says, girl is over here acting like she's a soloist. She's not even on the feature album. She's legit only on for 1 song.
All right.
Okay, well now I feel differently.
All right, hold on a second, guys.
Being prepared, are you?
I'm going to disagree with all of you.
Oh.
I'm going to disagree. And the reason why I'm going to disagree is there's no way that you can cancel or shut down God, the Lord. You just can't.
Well, yeah,
okay,
she
guys.
said that.
I know it.
I'm listening to Lord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Get out of jail free card.
You
right
can't
there.
do that, you guys. You got to just say, okay, good. Yeah, as long as sing for us and make it a great song and make this flight pleasant. That's all I'm.
quick.
Yeah.
Well, the issue that the flight attendant had was that it was this woman's failure to listen to him as a lead flight attendant, which might indicate her behavior during an actual emergency. She was pretty ornery. I mean, he asked her 3 or 4 times to cut it out. I mean, do you listen? I mean, when they come around and they need the verbal yes, I am. Yes, yes ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, if everyone should have just clapped, and if they had done that, maybe she wouldn't have gone on and on.
Right. But
I look back in I'm diving. 2018, this worked for her on the New York subway. She sang and
And that's what happened.
didn't work for her on this Delta flight.
But everybody, she could have had a viral moment. Well, it was a viral
Well, she
moment.
did, right? Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a good one, showing her talent that she was,
The
talking about.
backstory is what people need to know.
Well, and what I like about it, though, is that she knows she's doing something wrong because she kind of, in a hushed voice, after he goes back down the aisle, says, okay, I'll sing it real quiet for you.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been worse on airplanes. I'm not
There
saying
have been
way
much,
worse.
way worse.
Well, Steve Eagar probably rides in first class.
Yeah, maybe he
Deal with all
does.
this
Business
nonsense
Where's
in the
my
back of
bag?
the plane. All right, coming up next, he won big, like really big, but someone had an even bigger mouth. A $1.35 billion prize that apparently couldn't buy silence, so now the winner is suing for it. And later, it is your chance to join the panel. We're asking for your video voicemail. You're already up late. What's a little while longer? Stick around. They say that money can't buy happiness, and apparently, you know what? It can't buy an NDA either. A man who won one of the largest lottery prizes in U.S. history has now filed a federal lawsuit against the mother of his own child in an attempt to keep his identity concealed. The man won $1.35 billion off of a lottery ticket he bought at a gas station in Maine, which also prompted him to have the mother of his child sign a non-disclosure agreement about his winnings. She was supposed to keep quiet until their child became of age in 2032. So, who did mom tell? Despite the agreement, the winner's father and stepmother. He is now seeking at least $100,000 in damages for each time she violated the agreement. Now, let me tell you this. I once got my tongue pierced in grad school. I couldn't even keep that from my mom and dad. I cannot imagine trying to hide $1.35 billion.
He took the money up front, 23 million. Is
Yeah.
all he's struggling.
That's all?
That's all he's going to have. Well, he's clearly got family problems, in my opinion. He doesn't want his own father to know. His father has remarried. I don't know if she's the wicked stepmother, and I have no idea. And he also doesn't want the mother of his child to be spreading. I just don't know. I can see not wanting it out there for everyone in the world to know, but she told his father.
Okay. Steve.
She told his father.
Steve.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what? You need to come to my family reunions, my family gatherings, because my family would ask me for money as soon as they found out I won.
Okay.
So that's probably why he wants to keep it quiet. Do you realize how many people are going to come out the woodwork and how many family members want money? And I'm with him. I'm going to sue her. I'm suing her, suing her pants off.
Okay, but how do you hide it, though? I mean, if suddenly you've got 1.35 billion, I mean, this is generational wealth.
Yeah.
How do you hide that you just choppered in to the family reunion
Well, okay,
as opposed to pulling up in a Toyota?
This is how I'm going to hide it. They're going to come to my house for reunions, and they're going to come to the regular house I live in now. When they leave, I'm going to jump in my helicopter, right, or my car, and I'm going to go over to my penthouse somewhere, and they don't ever have to know. Like, yeah, I'm going to sue her.
Two social media is the whole thing.
I agree with DeDe. You hear this stuff all the time when people win any amount of money in the lottery. You have friends coming wanting
I want to talk to you guys about your family.
My immediate family, it's fine. But if you're getting into first, second, and third cousins that you've never talked to, and all of a sudden they're hitting you up on the gram and they want a couple grand here and there, no. Thank you.
Well, now there are several states that do allow you to conceal your identity when
Texas
you win.
is one.
Right, Texas is one of them. Maine is not one of them. So what this guy is doing is he's collecting the money through an LLC. So they said, listen, 1.35 billion is unlike anything we've ever dealt before. So we're going to let you collect it through this kind of umbrella, organization, so people, don't exactly know who you are. But here's the thing, all of that aside, I don't disagree with any of you, but what I do disagree with is the suing. Do we need to really sue people over this and for money?
Yes.
I'm imagining, by the way, that this mother of the children, this woman doesn't have $100,000.
I was going to ask, does she have a bunch of money now? Because
No.
$100,000 for each instance of sharing.
Right. So she told at least two people that we know of, if not more. I mean, listen, you can say, hey, I'm suing you to do, because you did this.
Cease and desist.
Cease and desist. I'm suing you for $100 for something, nominal to say, hey, I'm just making a point here and you need to shut your trap.
Right.
But it's the suing culture part of it that bothers me.
I got to be honest. I'm with him. I'm going to sue. Number one, when I've got
For money or
for money and everything, because guess what? I had a windfall, and obviously money is coming to me, and I want more of it. No, but here's the thing I was going to say about it. I think that, number one, you hear, first of all, this guy is smart. Whoever it was who won, kudos to him. Many of them go broke. You guys have seen that, right?
Most all of them.
Right?
Yes.
He was smart enough to do that with an LLC. He wanted to keep his identity private. You get a lot of people. There's a risk in this too, security risk, that she's telling everybody, we're not thinking about that. Here is a billionaire, everyday billionaire. You never know if somebody's going to try to kidnap him, the child, I just think it was irresponsible of her. And if I made you sign an NDA, shut your trap.
And I do think, and I kind of hope that really the motivation here is not so much him, but protection of the child.
The child.
They do
That
make
is
a
a
point.
One would hope.
The NDA was all about, hey, when our child turns 18, then we can talk about this, because I think that maybe
Child
it's
is safe and
child
able
is
to make
safe, the child's an
decisions.
adult, whatever. Has anybody ever won the lottery, by the way?
I
No.
have not.
Never.
Yeah, the one we do, when Fox 4 goes, I think we had like $12 once, split amongst 60 people.
Not
it was
bad.
nice.
But
Have you, Steve?
I did win a cakewalk when I was a kid. Y'all ever did one of those?
The story makes me wonder about the dad and the stepmom.
And what their
Well, and
relationship is.
Because if you won, wouldn't you tell your dad?
Listen,
Get some advice or
and
something.
There's
like that.
obviously, again, this is me reading between the lines here, but the fact that the lawsuit and all of the news coverage refers to this woman as the mother of his child, as opposed to wife, ex-wife,
Significant other,
fiance,
whatever.
Clear
girlfriend,
that
whatever the
there's-
case is, tells me that there's a little bit of estrangement,
Yep.
Bad
there
blood.
going on. By the way, he bought a single ticket at a gas station. All it takes, they used to
What a
say,
story.
is $1 and a dream.
Maybe we'll all do that tonight.
All right, next up, if it's your dream to join our panel, guess what? Today, it's your lucky day. It's your chance to weigh in. DeDe McGuire is our guest, and that means she is ready to share your video voicemail.
All right, it's time for you to get for real. As a matter of fact, we want to hear from you and see you. So come out from behind your keyboard and let's sound off just like Neil and Argyle did.
Hey Steve, Neil from Argyle, and tipping culture is driving me crazy. I don't feel like I should have to tip something on an online shop. I just don't even know where the money's going. As far as tipping at a fast food restaurant or someplace where I'm actually going to the counter and getting my own food or bussing my own table doesn't make a lot of sense either. So it's just absurd to be tipping all these places that I've gotten so frustrated that I don't even want to tip anywhere anymore. I think people should just be paid normal wages and get on with our lives.
And that's the key, right? I think it's the normal wages piece, because I don't know anybody who I've had this conversation with on social media or elsewhere that says, oh, I think we need more tipping. But what everybody is saying is, I think we need to pay people a fair and living wage.
Absolutely.
100%.
And blame the owners. They are the ones doing this. They are. They don't have to have the little spin around thing. They don't. We hold, I know we hold the people who spin it responsible. The 18-year-old, you go, oh my gosh. But it's not them. That's what they have to do to get their credit card run. It's the owner of the, go talk to the manager and say, I'm going to tell my friends never to eat here.
I will say, when I get the twisty thing, and I do, and luckily, see, unlike High Roller Eagar over here, I made a career out of being cheap. So people don't expect me to give them anything, right? So I'll say this, when I push no, and then it says, do you want a receipt? I'm like, no, I don't want any record of this.
Sometimes, you know, I have gotten a little bit softer because it is the holiday season, but if you run 5 errands in a day, you know, and every time you're asked to tip, I'm not doing it every time.
It's
I'm
not
just
the
not.
kid, though. It's not the
no,
kid at the
I know
counter.
it
It's
isn't.
the owner and the
I know,
manager.
but if I'm making some type of personal little connection and I just how I am, I feel guilty about it, but the salaries should be more competitive.
Well, guess what they're going to say? The next time you go in and you order your stack of pancakes, they're going to cost $20 or $25, and then, you know what I mean? They're going to say, we're going to pay everybody a lot more, but what you're getting is going to cost a lot more too. So are we prepared for that?
I'd be okay with it.
Everything is too expensive already.
So what's a couple of bucks more, right? All right, if you've got something to say, be it good, bad, or ugly, you can text your video to 469-818-9114. You just might see yourself on the show, and that does it for us for time for tonight. We're back tomorrow with one family who says they were, well, just disappointed at the gender of their new baby, and now they want everyone else to normalize their feelings. Our panel will weigh in, and so can you. And whether or not you're just starting your day or just wrapping it up, remember, opinions are like air fresheners. Yours is kind of nice, but everyone else's stinks. We'll see you next time.